is very distracting. But
Yeah, hang on.
welcome to another episode of Stream Chill. We're doing this and we're doing it for some time now. This is episode 3. We are not talking about Blackbird, but we are talking about a brand new show on Amazon Prime called Paper Girls. It's a really good show. It's really good.
Mhm. It is. It is. Very good. Actually, I think the Stranger Things people will love it. Anybody who loved that show. So that's my opinion. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear. I just hear a crazy echo in the background.
Okay, that's my IG, I think. Oh, this is going to be weird. No,
Yeah, I
don't
can hear
delete.
everything going on. We're gonna get these kinks ironed out. I promise you.
Yes,
I
we
promise
will.
you.
We will. We will. We will. It'll happen. It'll happen. I promise.
Yeah, I have nobody on my IG, so if you wanna,
Can you hear me? Hear an echo still?
I can hear you fine.
But do you hear an echo still?
The echo is delayed, but as of now, no, I do not. Yeah,
Ah.
I still hear it. I still hear it very badly. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like you said, this is like one of our first shows.
Yeah, it's one of
Getting
our first
things
shows,
out.
and we could figure out the Instagram thing at another time.
Yeah. All right, everybody. There's a link. The link to this is like in the story and in the IG story and in the of their posts. So go to that YouTube channel and it's right there. We're live. So we're gonna hop off this, right? The IG.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know why it's acting so weird. Okay. All right. How's everything now? Still good?
Oh, was it just me? It might have just been. It might have just been my YouTube because I'm logged on the YouTube too. So it could have just been me the whole time. Oh well. Look at that. Look at us.
No,
Look
you
at us.
didn't.
Look at
No,
us.
you didn't.
Figuring things
Oh,
out.
you saying us? That's you. That's you. That
Yeah,
was you.
look at
If
me.
that
Look
was
at me.
YouTube, that
Look
was
at
you.
me.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I think it was YouTube because now that I cut it off, I don't even hear anything. Anyway, welcome to this episode of Stream Chill. We got it down to 2 minutes this time. I think last time it was 5 minutes of just like, what are we doing? Now it's down to 2 minutes. So we're making progress. Today we're going to be talking about a brand new show on Amazon Prime
Yay,
called
us.
Paper Girls. It's really, really good. It's about these 4 girls on a paper route, and then they get sent in the future. And it's really interesting because I just keep wondering, like, if younger me had met my future self, hopefully at a good time in future me's life, right?
Mm-hmm.
What would I think? Would I be confident? Would I be able to help them out and fix the situation, or would I be the one who has no clue what the F is going on? What do you think?
I wouldn't even talk to me. Nope. Wouldn't even talk to
Yeah.
me. I don't do strangers. I was the most timid, the
But
shyest
you would
person.
know it was you, though. You would
How?
know it was you. Because it's
How?
you. You would know what younger you looks like.
I know, but younger me wouldn't know what older me looked like.
I think you would like, this person looks just like me. He lives at my house. Is this older me?
Yeah, you're not from where I grew up at, so
Are you
it
from a
could
place where everybody looks alike?
no, but just because they look like you don't mean that you know them. I mean,
That's true. But I feel like you know who you are.
I'm sorry, I was a paranoid kid. I was like shy, and like my grandmother got me started reading like horror comics early, and I just didn't trust nobody. So and I was
I
really,
feel
really
you.
shy. So I don't think I would. I don't think I could have the guts that these girls had to, not only see a few of them see their future selves, but to help save the world
Yes,
when
and
the
that's
day
something I
started
don't
out
think I
delivering
could
papers.
do.
hmm
I don't
The
think I
day
could
started out
help
delivering
save the world.
papers. Yeah.
Because I'm just like, no, I'm not about to die. For who? For these? No, that's not happening. I wouldn't do that. That's not who I am.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, so this doesn't happen during in the next couple years for me. So just send me back home, and I'll be all right. I'll just tell somebody.
Right.
That would be kid me. To be like, okay, I'll tell somebody, and we can get this fixed. Done, solved. You don't need to do nothing. um, I'd be so scary. So, um,
Did you watch the did you read the comics of this?
yeah, I didn't read the entire series, but I read the first full volume. And there are some changes, if that's what you're asking.
Okay.
Um, like that whole the whole beginning with Ali Wong, is I think is the actress's name. Um, that whole beginning with her, who she's like a grown up Aaron, the paper girl whose
Yeah.
name is Aaron. She's grown up Aaron. So that
The
whole
new
opening was
girl.
not the opening. Yeah, that was not the opening. The opening was the girls delivering papers, and meeting up and kind of banding together to get away from those boys that were mean and just after them for no reason.
Yeah.
And that was how the start of it was. They didn't really get to the rest of the stuff till later. So you didn't. And at the end of the very first book, I remember this. That's how I got into it. At the end of the very first book, they're chasing people. They look like they're maybe zombie alien people. The spaceship looks kind of weird. You really don't know what's happening in the comic. And then at the end, one of the girls picks up something and it has the Apple symbol on the back of it. It's an iPod.
It's an iPhone. Oh wow.
It's an iPod. So one of the little was it the minis, the square ones, the little square ones?
The
Yeah.
Nano.
So, yeah, the Nano. Yeah, it was a little one. It was one of those little ones, and they're like, "What is this?" And I'm like, and so when you're reading that comic and you're seeing everything that's going on, the shooting at the girls happens. Like they pretty much got that opening scene with the girls delivering the papers and then getting, you know, getting in contact. I'm trying to not do too many spoilers for people who hadn't seen it yet, but when they come in contact with the people from the future, that stuff is all pretty much uh similar to the comics.
Yeah.
But that part, really wish they would have done the part where you have that that iPod, because it was like, no way, what's going on, and you really don't know what's going on until you get into the next book. So
Yeah. Well,
um
you kind of get a gist of that in episode 3
mhm.
because she's in the car and she's like, "What type of? This doesn't even have a tape player." And then he goes, "Play Danzig or whatever they're listening to." And then so you get
Mhm.
a glimpse of. You're like, "Whoa, what is that?" Like I just
Yeah.
feel like predicting what an '80s child would think of 2019 technology is really difficult because I feel like a
Mhm.
kid would lose their mind off of like little me. I would have lost my mind. They kind of were really chill about it. They didn't like their minds weren't blown, in my personal opinion.
No, and like the internet should have been enough to be just like over, done.
Yeah,
Introduce an 80s kid to the internet and it's over with. It's over with, because the internet kind of blows everything we ever knew about tech and communications back at that time. Like
right.
everything we knew, the internet is like it not just blows it out of the water, it just kind of disrupts everything we knew at that time, because what we thought about communications, we didn't. I mean, just pushing a button and you get all the encyclopedias that were ever made.
That was crazy. That's mind blowing. It's 100% mind blowing.
Yeah.
Like you got to
I mean,
think, right? You got to think. Like I remember when I got introduced to the internet, AOL. My aunt had it, but she only had like what 100 hours, so you couldn't even be on it all day, which
mm-mm,
was crazy. So to be gradually introduced to the internet is one thing, but to just get all of the power of the internet is a whole nother thing. Where
mhm,
it's like you don't even like even as a kid now, you see other people on the internet before you even get to touch it. But
mhm,
to just the first time you touch the internet and you're capable and it's like, whoa, everything's here. I
mhm.
couldn't even imagine what that's like. Well, I guess kids nowadays, but see again, they lived with it. They've seen it. It's not like
Yeah.
we had to go print out 5 pages of MapQuest directions before we can go somewhere. You know what I mean?
Remember
It wasn't
those
like that.
right, and you remember those AOL CDs?
Yeah, this come and get 100 more hours of AOL, just make a new email address. Yeah, absolutely.
Make a new email address and go to Walmart and get another CD.
One thing the kids of today will never understand how great it was when you can buy a magazine and get 10 CDs every time you buy a magazine.
Columbia House,
Because you
yes.
just were like, I'm going to get 10 more CDs and use a different name, and they'll
Yep.
just mail them to your house anyway, and then you never
Yep.
had to pay. It was the best thing ever.
I mean, that was like collections and it went on your credit, but what's credit when you're like 14 and,
They didn't even ask
using
for a social. They didn't go on your credit at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah. All you got to do is just have the right emails and mails. So,
That's it.
yeah. Oh man, Columbia House. Or you remember was it Kazaa and LimeWire?
Yeah. Napster, Kazaa,
Yep.
LimeWire, all that stuff.
Yep. And
Kazaa was great.
Kazaa was awesome. Knowing a song just by that says track number 3507, and you knew what song that was just by you just knew.
Remember
Yeah.
finding someone with T1 internet and then downloading everything they owned?
Yes.
What? That was great.
All the kids that are watching this just tuned us out. They're like, okay, these people.
Yeah, I don't know what they're talking about. If you're watching this, let us know your greatest 80s and 90s memories. We really want to know.
We're not alone in this. Okay, I know we're not.
But let's talk about Paper Girl. So let's start with a character breakdown. Tiffany Qualquin.
Okay.
Am I saying that right? Qualquin? Tiffany, the black girl.
Just go with Tiffany.
Yeah.
That's Cameron Jones. Now I do want to say I got to talk to these girls, and they're some fun girls, and they're really intelligent. So Tiffany's played by Cameron Jones. Tiffany is she's not your typical stereotypical black girl in the 80s in the stereotype of the black girl in the 80s. I'll just put it that way.
God.
Right? Yeah. She's cooler. She's not this sassy, sassy, I got a snappy comment, thing. She's like, no, she is the let's get it done type of girl. She is one of the braver ones, but she's a big old nerd. She is. Yeah. And Cameron Jones is a lot like her. Just a big Marvel fan and just really into comics and stuff like that. So, but Tiffany is the one who, if you get all the way, you got to go all the way to the end. And Tiffany, I think Tiffany's the most special one. I'll just say that, right?
She seems special because early on, let me get their names together right. So early on, when young Aaron goes to older Aaron, and older Aaron's trying to figure things out, she's like not really into it. And Tiffany goes, well, let's just find older me because I'm definitely going to be successful. And she actually is. Mm-hmm. And I think that sort of lets you know that this person is different. This person is a step above the rest.
Yeah. She has that go-getter, that attitude that I'm going to be successful no matter what. That's a given. What. That's a given. Like, it's a given that she's going to be successful. Nobody's asking questions. At least she's not. She's not questioning it. She's always the one who knows exactly how to get things done. All you got to do is make the suggestion. She's got it. So yeah. And she's the one who has the best solutions to kind of get them out of trouble. So she is my favorite, and not just because she's a black. Well, yeah, it is because she's a black girl, and because she is like the most practical. But she thinks best on her feet. I think
she does. She behaves just like you expect a black woman to behave under pressure, and that's perfectly.
Yes. Boom, yes. In reality. Perfect. There you go.
Yeah. Now, her character arc, can you give a little bit of insight to what her character arc does in the comics versus what she does in this series? And I'm only on episode 3, but if you spoil it, you spoil it.
Oh, no, I'm not going to spoil it because I didn't get to the material episode 3 in the comics. So I'm just going to say all the girls in the comics are actually more pronounced than they are more pronounced in the series. So in the comics, but not by a lot. They pretty much got them a lot spot on. Tiffany is still the one that's like, let's go after the boys. Let's do this. Why don't we do this? Why don't we, when they're trying to figure things out, well, what to do? She is the idea person.
Yeah.
She's the one that's all that's, something happens. She's right there with the, let's do this. She's the assertive one. So, I do have some behind the scenes stuff.
Okay,
If you
sure.
let me get it. Okay. So Cameron Jones told me that there is a scene where Tiffany is driving.
Yeah.
Cameron is not old enough to have a driver's license.
Mm.
So she said while they were in the car, she's at the car at the wheel, outside, like outside of the car, outside of the car, the window immediately is this rigging where a man is sitting and he's actually driving the car.
Oh wow, that's pretty cool.
So, because by law, she
Can't drive.
well, she had a driver's permit, and when you have a permit, you can only drive with people 21 and over in the car,
Yeah.
not with a bunch of teenagers. So even if okay, she's got a permit, she still can't drive with just the girls in the car.
Right. She
I
needs
thought that was kind of
someone,
funny.
an adult.
Yeah.
Sidebar, I did a Ford commercial and they actually put the car on the back of a flatbed. So the cars aren't driving. So next time you watch a car, and a car commercial or anything when they're driving, if you notice, they'll always be kind of like higher up. 9 times out of 10, they're higher up than the street. So it looks like they're actually on the back of a flatbed and not lower to the ground. Just something that I've been recognizing sometimes, just, because I've been in the car commercial.
Yeah. Okay.
So who else is it? There's also Aaron. Let's. What do you know about Aaron? Played by Riley Leigh Nellette. Did I say
Okay.
that right?
So Aaron.
I butchered her name. Hello?
No. Let me see. You were close. You're close. So Aaron, played by Riley. Riley's another talkative, nerdy type of girl in real life. And she plays Aaron, who's like kind of quiet because she's first generation immigrant. She's and she's got this and that's pretty much the same. She's still mousy because she is here. She's Asian, and she's got her mom who's an immigrant mom who speaks. I mean, I think her mom spoke English a little bit in the comics. Can't remember. But then she's also the new person. So she doesn't know what's really going on.
She just met these girls.
Yeah. In the book, I think they kind of knew each other a little bit. I don't think they don't think it was just brand new, but they hadn't gotten together yet to deliver in the book, in the comics. But yeah, in the story and in the show, the first thing you see is adult Aaron, played by Ali Wong. So
I didn't even know that was Ali Wong until you just said something. I had no clue who that was.
Yeah. So Riley said that actually that Ali was like a big sister to her on set. Which I thought
that's
was really
good.
cute.
That's good.
Yeah. So all of this, I did put all this in an article that I wrote on the Black Cape, my magazine. Go find that out. theblackcapemag.com. So, but yeah, Riley said that Ali was really nice to her. Actually, all the girls said that that the adults were really, really protective and really, really helpful and instructive to them, all of them. So I thought that was really nice.
I feel like kid stars of today are way more protected than kid stars of yesteryear. Like if you look at I don't know his name, and I hate that I don't know his name, but everybody hates Chris. What's his name? Do you know the actor who plays Everybody Hates Chris?
Yeah, I know his name, but if you wouldn't ask me, would I go point blank like that? I wouldn't.
I
wouldn't know. Yeah.
Him. He's still working on another hit TV show, and a fully functioning adult. I'm assuming he still has most of his money or some of his money. Props to him, and on another hit TV show, doing well. And that never would have happened in the 80s.
No, Tyler Williams is his name.
Tyler Williams, yeah.
Yeah.
Kid actors from the 80s are on Big Brother, Celebrity Big Brother now.
A lot of them didn't make it through the 90s.
I know. It's crazy that Willis is the only one left. Willis,
Really?
Todd Bridges.
No, I
Isn't
had
he?
to think about that for a minute. Todd Bridges, Willis
Did he
is
just die?
no, I think he's still, but I had to think about, yeah, out of all
He's
the,
been through a lot.
yeah.
It's just him and Alfonso Rivera.
Well, you got Janet Jackson.
Yeah, she been on television. She was a little bit, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But she was also a Jackson, so she don't really count.
Yeah.
She was a
All
Jackson. They
right.
don't count.
All right. So Jacksons don't count. Kim Fields. Kim Fields was Tootie.
Yeah, but
But is that 70s or?
Tootie did start very young too, right? Tootie
Yeah, I
was
think
like
it
what,
was.
13, 14?
Yeah. It wasn't from like little. I think
Yeah,
they started really wising up to the how the kids were treated around Macaulay Culkin. You
yeah,
know?
yeah, absolutely. You
Yeah.
got you got to think, and going back to this theme of this in the 80s and 90s, we didn't know how to function yet. I just feel like we basically just got electricity in the 80s. It's like the 70s was such a dark age. It was like, oh, it's like, okay, so 70s, we like just got into like electricity and technology, right? I feel like everyone didn't have a television in the 70s. No
No.
one knew what their neighbors were doing or what. There were like three channels, you know what I mean? Like, and the world was so small. Your world was your small town. You can go months without seeing someone else, you know what I mean? It was still segregated. And then in the 80s, it was like, oh, there's other people here. We need to interact with them. Like,
Mm-hmm.
this country is still very, very young. Like, there was a boom and an explosion. So
In
our
the
parents
90s.
and in the 90s, exactly. So kids from the 80s, kids from the 90s, they didn't really have much. Like, hip
Mm-mm.
hop was a new
No.
thing.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I'm still here. It was. If you look at it, hip hop was new. Um, a lot of and black music was like foreign to a lot of white
Yeah,
kids, and who lived in predominantly white areas. And then when they got
exactly.
it, it was all music made by people who are not white was considered rap music, and that's the way they did it in Arkansas where I was. Um,
We grew up in
so yeah,
Arkansas,
yes.
and
Fun
then
fact,
you went to
yeah,
Indiana.
yeah. I actually started in Indiana. I was born here in Indiana and I moved to Arkansas and then came back. But a fun fact in Arkansas, 1992, my brothers and I desegregated at school. We
Wow.
were the first black people in that school district. My brother
In
was the first black person.
1992.
Yeah, my
How did
brother.
how did they treat you?
Uh, well, if you ask them today, they treated us fine. I guess the spit and the tobacco in my brother's locker, and all this
Wow,
other stuff.
that
Yeah.
sucks.
Well, I mean, things got better once they figured out that my brothers could fight.
Yeah.
So and then I was really, really smart. And so they started, there were a lot of little things that they started like there were titles that I won.
Hmm.
I'm just gonna put it like that. I'm bragging. But yeah, so I became an asset in that way. And then my brothers could also play basketball and run track and stuff. So, when they figured out that, oh, okay, we kind of use these kids for something, then things started to get better. But we actually did have genuine friends, but the majority of the people didn't know what to do with this because they'd only see black people on TV.
Yeah. So look at that. It's like certain parts of the country are probably still segregated.
Oh
This
yeah.
is a crazy world we live in. It's a crazy world we
Hmm.
live in.
Yeah. So
Aaron just got there. Now we also
yeah.
have, and this is actually my favorite character because that is it. JD, is that her name? Because KJ.
KJ.
I like
KJ.
KJ because she has like a
Yes.
mysterious aura to her, and she has a body like she killed someone. Spoiler, but
Yes. See, that was a big ass spoiler. Okay, so KJ,
sorry.
K, KJ is like the that friend who, when you're about to do something, they're like, well, should we be doing this, guys? And maybe we shouldn't be, maybe not this, or is what's gonna happen, or that friend that's always paranoid and asking questions
The
and telling you
voice
not to
of
do it.
reason.
I mean, or just the paranoid friend is just whichever way you
The
want to do
voice of
it.
reason. I saw her and I felt seen. I was like,
You're her.
Yeah, like why are we going into the lake? Like this is dirty water. Let's not do this. Because I'm that person.
um what I thought was important, and one of the things that I brought up when I talked to the girls, was that KJ's Jewish.
Mm,
Um we have uh Tiffany, who's black. And then we have Erin, who's Korean, I think. Um she's Asian. So we have, and then we have the last one we're going to get to. She's white. So their race actually comes in heavy into the series where it didn't in the comics. It was like
really?
it was there, but it was not really a thing. And actually, I didn't even notice the races of the girls at first. That was how ambiguous they made race in the comics, which the comics are written by Brian K. Vaughan.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, dude writes good stories, but I mean, he's typical white guy writing comics. He doesn't do race very well. So,
Yeah.
he just made everybody just the default,
It's
so
really
all
hard
of them
to
look
do
like white girls.
race.
Um,
Really, really hard to do race. And I think more people need to understand that. Like race isn't
yeah,
for everybody to tackle.
it's not, but there are little nuances you can do like they did in the series. Like there were little things like KJ giving Mac basically a teardown about anti-Semitism in
Mm,
America in the 80s, and how you don't need to be saying those anti-Semitic terms that you were saying. So cool it. And I thought KJ was going to mop the floor with it right then. I was kind of rooting for her. But yeah,
Matt, Matt
KJ, I
gets
think,
schooled a lot in this because she is what white people used to be.
yes, yes. So white people in the 80s, if they didn't grow up around people of color, they they just kind of soaked in that, I don't know, racism.
But she
Over
also hints
herself.
back into a time when you can sort of say almost anything you wanted to say.
Yeah, you could, because yeah, nobody stopped you.
Right.
Nobody stopped you. And the people who had the power were the people who looked like her. So when we started getting people in power who looked more, like the rest of the girls, then you had to cool it. But I like it how in the series, KJ takes her down. Cameron comes at her, and even Aaron has a moment. So
Mm,
they race is tackled. Sometimes it's subtle, but race is tackled in that series, and Mac ends up becoming kind of an ally, towards the end, turning her stuff all the way around. Um, there's a moment, and I'm not going to say much about it, but there's a moment in one of I think the last episode, or the second to the last episode, where Mac has okay, you can see she learned from her fellow, paper girls,
yeah.
so that she's not supposed to, because she gets it. She comes up, she's like the poorest one. She's living in a shack basically,
And she'll have
at
no
the edge of
filter
town.
on her mouth whatsoever. She's just letting them fly.
Yeah, and well, when you see her dad and the rest of her family, that's where she gets it from.
Yeah.
And they really don't care too much about anything. And she's basically surviving on her own.
Yeah.
Um, and so she's like the most desperate of one of all. Which is another thing I wanted to point out too, is this is a series that where the white girl is actually the poorest one, the one scrambling, the one that's struggling, the one that who has to rely on the other ones for certain things, because she goes without. There's a lot of things she doesn't know because
Yeah.
she's poor.
And she brings
And
that up when they're
yeah.
getting to know each other. She's like, we didn't all have that. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? And I think that's a lot where a lot of her anger and frustration comes from. And
Yep.
to me, it's telling because even though a lot of, I'm gonna say us, black people didn't have, I feel like a lot of us, we knew how to behave and how to function in places and treat people with respect and just basically show overall tact when dealing with other people. I think Mac doesn't have that.
Hmm.
But the four of these girls, they do come together like Voltron, I'm on episode 3, so I don't know how much they come together, and I won't spoil it all. This is basically just a character breakdown. Um, but yeah, so I'm gonna ask you, which character do you identify with most? Is it gonna be Tiffany?
Um, yeah, it's gonna be Tiffany. But I was a quiet Tiffany. I was a Tiffany who was okay. We're coming to this. Nobody else is saying anything. Okay, look. This is what we need to do. If nobody's speaking up, but I wouldn't be talking as much as she does, and wasn't as assertive.
Yeah,
But if it's something coming up, and we're facing something strange, and somebody needs to have a solution, I got the solution. We need to do this, this, and this. That was usually that person.
yeah.
Um, Maybe a mix of her and KJ, because KJ is kind of standoffish on the side.
I'm all KJ.
Um, so yeah. I do want to say that KJ's arc later on in the series gets kind of interesting, and then you kind of look back and you figure out KJ's been dealing with something that started around the time that they
Mm,
were paper girls, and I love that was embedded in there, and it's kind of a side arc, and when you kind of figure out, oh my goodness, this is what she's dealing with. I don't know, I got kind of proud that they put it in.
okay,
um yeah, so
cool. I'm
so
gonna
yeah,
check
look for
that
it.
out. I'm
Yeah, look
gonna
for
check
it.
it out. I have
Yeah,
to go
they're
back and rewatch a lot of this too because I was watching it like with my son in the background,
hmm
so I need to go back and watch it a little bit.
and fast forwarding through the alien stuff and the shootings.
Yeah,
Yeah,
a little bit of that. A little bit of
yeah.
that. Now, I do
So
also want to talk. We have more on Paper Girls.
no, I was just I'm gonna hype my article again because I put in there the things that they told me about behind the scenes. So all the little
Hmm.
tidbits I'm telling you, there's more. Like there's one of the cast. They had a sleepover, and one of the cast members actually crashed the sleepover and ended up getting a song that the girls made up
Wow,
about them.
they made a song.
Yes,
That's great. Do you
yes.
know it? Do you remember the
Um,
words?
I'm not gonna sing that song. It's one of the Flow Rider songs.
It's a
Um,
Flow Rider song.
yeah, yeah, and they kind of changed the lyrics to troll this cast member.
That's
Um,
hilarious.
yeah, so I wrote about that, and they had great things to say about the main characters, the adults, the main characters. Like one of each girl seemed to identify with one of the adults, which I thought, again, going back to how they're protected. And it's like they had a mentor on set, you
Hmm.
know, an informal mentor, which I really loved because that shows that they were really looked out for, and they all found this to be a learning experience. And I do want to add the fact that the girl who plays Max, Sophie, she's a filmmaker.
Yeah, I saw that on her Instagram. She's a filmmaker.
Yeah, yeah. She's got a whole film company, production company. So, she's nothing like Mac.
Big, big things are going for her. Big things are going.
Yeah. So,
I also, before we go, I wanted to talk about The Curse of Bridge Hollow, which is a new movie coming to Netflix.
hmm
It stars Priah Ferguson and Marlon Wayans, also Kelly Rowland. And I have
hmm
some images from it if you guys didn't see it.
Oh, I
Um,
didn't.
okay, this image right here is
Oh.
of Priah and Marlon. And it's a great show. Like, as a father, Marlon Wayans, and his teenage daughter,
hmm
Priah, are focused to team up to save their town after an ancient and mischievous spirit causes Halloween decorations to come to life and wreak havoc. And
hmm
you can tell, depending on which neighborhood you live in, that is a creepy, 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 creepy thing. The movie also stars Kelly Rowland, as you can sort of see Kelly Rowland there, wearing the green and polka dots. I had it written down who Kelly Rowland was, but I honestly don't have that now because I was super prepared for this. But Kelly Rowland's in it, and then you have this other image of Priah as well, wearing Burberry, looking all good. You can sort of see this town is a town that decorates everything, which
hmm
makes sense for the plot of the show. But you can sort of see them coming to life, and it'll be really, really good. So I'm really
She lives
excited.
in It looks good. So she lives in Halloween Town, basically.
Basically, yeah.
Basically.
My
And
son,
Priya. Oh, go ahead.
no, continue.
Priya. looks familiar.
She's from Stranger Things.
Oh, the girl that has
Yeah,
all the good. Yeah, okay, that's why I
she's from
know.
Stranger Things. Stranger
That's why
Things has another series of episodes coming, correct? Part two, or is it done?
I've not followed. I've not followed. I think, but I think it does have some more coming. I don't think it's done. I don't think it's
Okay,
done.
all right. I didn't watch the new season yet.
Yeah,
I need
somebody
to check it
watching.
out.
I'm sure somebody when somebody watching can like fill us in the comments.
Yeah,
Yeah.
awesome. So cool.
So.
Like, I
Mhm.
really want people to watch that. I think it's dope. My son loves Halloween. He has Halloween everything. He listens to Halloween all year round. He
Yeah,
just
my
loves
kids
it.
love
He'll
it.
say Halloween. It's amazing.
Ah, cute. My kids love it. Um, everything about it. So, and we do a Halloween Town marathon every year. So
Oh, dope,
with
dope.
the younger and older kids, yeah. So yeah. So next, what are we? What's next on the docket?
It's up to you if you want to do a League of Their Own now, because we don't have that clip. It's up to you if you want to do that now. If you
Hmm.
want to wait until next time, we can do that next time. And I think we don't really need to talk about the HBO Max thing unless you want to. You want to get
Um,
that off your chest?
yeah, we could talk about it. We can talk
Okay.
about it. Because I've had people asking me what I think about it today. Because I am a DC fan. I don't know if
Yeah,
if you knew that.
I did not
I mean,
know that.
yeah,
But I
I mean, I
assumed
love
you
the
were. The
comics.
name of your website is the Black Cape, so why wouldn't you be a DC fan?
That actually, the cape actually hails back to comics and to cinema. You know that when you had that, it goes to the
So
magicians, to
on.
vaudeville. Yeah, so it's kind of all encompassing.
Yeah, but there's only one
Um,
superhero who really owns the Black Cape.
I mean, come on now, come on now. So yeah, and then all my kids have DC Comics names. So that's for another show. But okay, so one of the things that we heard about the HBO Max thing is that they are shelving a bunch of movies.
Yeah.
And people are mad, like mad.
See, and that's the thing because when the news originally broke that Discovery and HBO Max were joining forces, I was really, really excited because
Hmm.
I always wanted Discovery Plus, and it was only $4 or $5, but it was just like I have everything else, and I don't want to spend $4 or $5 to watch Property Brothers. You know what I mean? But if it's coming to HBO Max, I'm going to be great because why would HBO go to Discovery?
Right.
HBO's premium, Discovery isn't premium. So I was excited about it. But then a couple of days ago, when they started chopping all of these shows, I was just like, "Whoa, this is different." Because together they have the opportunity to be a powerful streamer. I think
Right.
what makes Hulu great is the game shows and the reality shows and the really easy stuff to watch that Netflix doesn't have a bunch of.
Hmm.
I think when it
Yeah.
comes to reality TV and competition shows, which is what I really like, Paramount Plus has that locked,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and they have really good shows too, but I really go there to watch The Challenge and Survivor and Big Brother and all these other shows that they have. But
Yeah. Yeah.
HBO Max, they have the DC stuff, the movies that no one can really compete with.
The classics, the movie that when you're thinking about, okay, what was that movie when, and it's probably going to be on HBO Max. Like you can
Yeah.
find, I remember when HBO Max first came out, people were like talking about what all they could find on there, so it was like that awesome. And the HBO Max brought the Snyder Cut when people said it was not possible. So, they're this star streamer. So why wouldn't they be the dominant streamer?
The Snyder Cut was awesome too, by the
The
way.
Snyder Cut was awesome. It was awesome, and the fact that it came and everybody said it wasn't gonna come, and it did. It was like the coolest thing ever. Um, and it proved one of my theories. And these people in the audience will figure out. I have a lot of like conspiracy ish theories. But it proved one of my theories because I was saying that the Snyder Cut was whitewashed. They took all the
Hmm.
people of color out, and when you saw, I mean, the original Justice League was whitewashed, but when the Snyder Cut came out, you saw one of the biggest characters was a black dude, and you saw
Yeah,
all these people of color, all these women
the
that
whole
were
thing was
not
based around the black dude.
right. And then so I'm
And
like,
you wonder why dude was
told
mad.
y'all,
And
told
you
y'all it
wonder
was
why he was mad. Why was he pissed?
whitewash. Told
He
y'all it was
he
whitewash.
ruin did Ray Fisher ruin his career because of that though?
No, 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 no.
I haven't seen him
Um,
in anything else, so I don't think he would be in
yeah,
anything else.
he's been in a couple things.
What?
He's very selective. That Women of the Movement.
Never heard of that.
Just because you never heard of it doesn't mean it was big. It was on ABC.
He was on an ABC movie.
It was an ABC series.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's
Um,
Disney. Okay, I'll give him that.
okay. And he's doing Rebel Moon right now.
Okay, okay.
But
I
yeah.
like Ray.
So
He's from Jersey.
yeah, the thing that he and I because I interviewed him twice. Um, the thing is, there are a lot of things that he spoke out against because there were a lot of people who had stories and could not speak because they were still working for the company, and
Yeah.
he spoke for them. So, he's like, I'm a new guy, I'm young, I don't need much. I can go ahead and put my neck out for all these people who have families and everything else, and they've suffered and they need to be spoken up for because, Joss Whedon actually when it finally came down to it, Joss Whedon was like a terrible person, like
Yeah.
horrible. Like
Yeah.
there were actresses who could not be around him. I mean, who he couldn't be around because they were underage girls. Like
Hmm.
there were rules. Um, Michelle Trachtenberg wrote about that on IG, on
Hmm.
one of her IG
I remember that.
posts. Yeah. So it when it finally broke all the way out, Ray was right in everything, but and I think he's like recovering his career, but I think Hollywood doesn't reward people for whistleblowing all that well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't.
Yeah. So anyway, back to HBO. HBO did have a bunch of epic things, and so the big blockbuster movies. So I still don't know how the decision came to make Discovery the dominant streamer.
Well, we don't know yet because I just read an article today, and they were saying
They're not.
they don't know what the name is going to be called, but Discovery is coming in and trying to run it a little bit better. Um,
I mean, that's
so
needed.
yeah, so I think basically the article said is that hey, we were throwing a lot of shit against the wall that wasn't necessarily working, and we want to get a handle on. We want to move smarter and
Hmm.
not just quality, move in a way that's quality over quantity. Basically, is what
Right.
it's saying.
Right.
And yes, I didn't watch a lot of their shows. Like I just watched Insecure and Game of Thrones, and I didn't watch any of the shows. So I don't really know what's going on over there. I really went there for the movie, so I
They
don't know. But I
they
like
had
HBO Max.
Yeah, they had a couple good ones. I loved Legendary. I mean, I'm not a reality TV person, but I love Legendary. It was ballroom. The big ball events where you get people who they dress up. It's part of the LGBTQ scene. It's like
Hmm.
that big event. And I loved it. I loved it. I hope it got renewed for a third season.
They had
Um,
F-Boy Island, which was a great show. They put a whole bunch of fuckboys on the island, mix them with some nice guys, and if the girl picks a fuckboy, if she picks a nice guy, they split $100,000. But if she picks a fuckboy, the fuckboy could take all the money. It's the greatest show. And one of the girls, she just kept tossing out nice guy after nice guy after nice guy. And she picked the fuckboy, and the fuckboy was like, I'm taking the money for myself.
wow. Okay. So is that like Survivor of the Hose or something? What is that?
It's
What is that?
Survivor of the fuckboys. Because the girls are good girls, but they're just trying to be, I guess they're trying to be like
I'm calling
the
the dudes
girls.
hoes.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what it was. Yes, and they had like I think it was like new Jarrett versus OG Jarrett. So there was one guy named Jarrett, then they introduced another guy named Jarrett, and OG and New Jarrett was 100% gay. I'm convinced he was gay, and he was
And he was
fighting
pink.
OG. I don't know. She's straight. He was straight. Let me know. He was straight. He's just very. He's a very metrosexual. I'll put it that way.
Oh, okay, okay.
He was like fighting the OG Jared. They were like, it was weird, and he like told the girl, like, yeah, um, he told one of the dudes that this show gonna give me all the bitches. All the bitches gonna be in my DMs. And then one of the good guys went back and told the girl, and you know what the girl did?
What?
She voted that dude off.
Oh my god.
She voted the good guy off and ended up going with the fuck boy, the Jared guy, and they split the money because he stayed
The
with
new
her.
Jared or old Jared?
The new Jared, the
The new Jared.
metrosexual fuck boy Jared.
Are you gonna get see? Are you gonna convince? I think you might have convinced me to try to watch an episode of this dang
Oh, you
show.
never watched that? Let me tell you.
No, I don't. I told you I don't do reality TV.
Fuckboy Island and Temptation Island are two reality TV. I don't do reality TV either, but Temptation Island and Fuckboy Island are two shows you have to watch because
It's actually called Fuckboy Island.
it's called F Boy Island. I should probably
F
say it
Boy
to
Island.
myself. F Boy Island and Temptation Island. You ever heard of Temptation Island?
Yes, I've heard of it, and I've tried to avoid it with everything I can.
It's
It's
the
within it.
greatest show. It's the greatest show. They sent this guy there, this black guy, who he went on this show. Was he dating a white woman? I don't know. Anyway, he went on this show. Like, we ain't got no rules. Immediately has like three threesomes.
Oh my
His girl
god!
is his
Oh my
girl is seeing all of
god!
this. His girl is seeing all of this. So he hooks up with this other girl, has a threesome with the girl he hooked up with and some other girl in the house. Then try to leave the girl he hooked up with for the girl he had the threesome with. His girl is watching all of this. Then he tried to go back to his girl. This is a whole bunch. Then it was this other girl and this guy who went on the show. And she was like, "Don't you cheat on me. Don't you cheat on me." He was like, "I'm not. I'm going to prove to you that I ain't going to cheat on you." First night, she had sex. First night, she had sex with somebody else.
Okay.
By night 10, her and the dude she slept with was beefing. He done called her a B and stormed off, and she kicked him off.
Wow. Wow.
Meanwhile, her dude is watching all of this. He has this girl. They can't see each other. They can see what they're doing, but they don't get to interact. He has this girl who's basically like, "Huh, take the cakes, take the cake, take the cakes. You can have all of them." And he's like, "Don't you see him consoling my man's? His girl was cheating on him too. We over here hurting." Like, it's a great show. It's phenomenal. It's a phenomenal show. I love it.
Oh my god!
I love it. I love it.
The equivalent of the beach trash novel, huh?
Yeah, because what they'll do, right? So perfect
Mm-hmm.
example. This dude was sitting in the chair, right, and girls was dancing around him, and this one girl tried to give him a lap dance. When I tell you, Joe, he done did a backflip to get away from her. He was like, "You are not touching me. You are not going to ruin my. I'm in a relationship. I'm not about to mess my relationship up." So they show him sitting down. He big too. He very fine man, sitting down, muscles and everything, long hair, hands behind his back. And when the girl tried to get on him, he flipped, but they cut the camera right to when she got like this close to him. They cut the camera. So she
Mm,
like, "Oh no," she crying. "He's cheating on me. Oh
mm.
no." I'm like, "Yo, that's crazy." Then this other dude, he wasn't even cheating on his girl. All he said was, but everybody else's guy was cheating, but he wasn't. And they showing this girl all that everybody else doing. And this guy says, "If my girl left me, I'll be okay. I'll be okay." She was like, "What?" Say
Oh my
less.
goodness!
So she started cheating on him. And when I tell you he turned to silly putty, he went
Wow! Wow! Wow!
greatest show. I kid you not. It's really good
Does
stuff.
does it still run? Does
Yeah,
it
it's
still
on
run?
Peacock. You can watch all of them on Peacock. Commercial free on
Mm.
Peacock. It's very, very good.
Peacock is another one that's got some pretty good sitcoms. I really
On the
love theirs.
low. Peacock is
Yeah.
good on the low. I love
Yep.
Peacock.
Yeah.
Um,
Girls Five Ever is the like with Sarah Bareilles in it,
yeah.
and
Grand
uh,
Crew is really good. I think they need to
hmm
change the name of the show because Grand Crew
yeah,
is an awful name. They should
yeah.
just called it The Crew.
The crew, yes, yeah. The name I don't get the name of it at all. Mm-mm.
Because they go to the Grand Bar.
Okay.
The bar that they go to is the Grand Bar, and then they drink all the wine. So all the episodes are wine based, wine and hip hop, wine and all
All
this other
right.
stuff.
Yeah.
But
And then
it's a
there's
good show.
another one. What is that called? It's
Bel Air.
that's a good one too. And there's another one where there's this white dude who's like the mayor of this town, and there's a bunch of indigenous people that live in around the town, and they're trying to like convince him to move this statue of his family, of his like his great
Mm,
great great ancestor or whatever, out of the middle of the town because people keep on running their cars into it. And because the story that as you go along the season, you find out the story of how his family came to own the town.
it's crazy.
It's not good. There's some it's some colonizer
Mm.
um soap opera stuff. It's
Oh, that
really
sucks.
good. It's really good.
You, you know what else is really good too?
What?
Dead to Me.
Yes.
That's good on the
That's
low.
not HBO Max though.
Is it? I thought it was on Netflix.
It's on Netflix, but we talk about HBO Max.
Uh, I don't watch
We
anything
went
on
on
HBO
Peacock
Max.
and everything else. Yeah, I watched mainly the movies on HBO Max, and like I said, Legendary. Legendary is amazing.
In the Mood for
Um,
Love is really good. That's on HBO Max. It's an Asian.
yes,
That's a great
yeah,
movie. I love that movie.
yeah. Made for Love is another HBO Max series where this dude has he marries this girl that he meets like almost immediately and marries her like within a week or something. It's really quick, but he ends up chipping putting a chip in her so that he can see everything she sees and hear her. This dude This dude records her orgasms. I'm telling you, this is an adult. This is after dark show. Not Made for Love, but this show right now. He records them and he makes her do surveys every day.
Wow.
And she cannot leave the house until she does her survey.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, because he said it's quality control. And like everything she does, like what she eats and when she takes a nap, it's all regimented. That's you see all that in the first episode, and then she escapes and goes, and you see where she came from. We talked about
Mm.
Mac earlier on Paper Girls. She came from someplace worse than where Mac came from, and
Wow.
her dad is uh Ray Romano, who his girlfriend is a blow up doll
That's hilarious.
that
Is
he
this
takes.
set? This
No,
is
she's
set
not
in the
blow up. She's
future.
silicone.
It's
No,
set in the future.
it's set kind of in the future, kind of now, because it's like this dude is a billionaire. So the girl's husband is a billionaire who has all this money, and he is out in the middle of nowhere. He's made his own little compound where even
Hmm.
the employees are stuck in there. Everybody's stuck into like this place, and he has so much money, nobody cares. He's like a blonde Elon Musk. And so he has so much money, he pays off everybody, and he just it's this desert town, I think in California, that out in the
Yeah.
middle of nowhere, so nobody suspects it. And yeah, so she goes back and she has to go back to her family and her friends to get help. And these are like not the people you go to for help. Like her stepmother is the silicone artificial
Yeah.
sex doll is like part a character in this series. It's hilarious, hilarious.
And what is
This
it called?
rollout, and they just did Made for Love, and I think they rolled out season two, and season two was just as funny. Um, they get into it's like sci-fi and the best soap opera
It's a
mixed
sci-fi
together.
dark comedy. Okay, I'm gonna check it out. It sounds like it's
Yeah,
good.
sci-fi dark soap opera.
That's great.
Like this close to a telenovela. This close.
My barber watches
Uh,
the telenovela, so when I go to the barber, he always got that on. I be like, dude, what are you watching?
I mean, the barber shop and or the beauty shop, wherever the shop, it probably has the just talking to him. You can probably get telenovela action.
Yeah,
Um,
I
so
gotta
yeah,
stop playing with this thing because my mic could pick all of it up. All right, so let's wrap it up.
Yeah,
Uh,
we kind of went all everywhere.
yeah, I had fun. This was a lot of fun. Fun for us. We're gonna get it till it's fun for everybody.
Right, right, right. We're kind of warming up and kind of
Yeah, this
feeling
is
out the
just
tech and
practice.
personalities and actually topics too. So,
Yeah,
um, maybe we ought to just go through some topics of what people should watch that's underrated shows or shows that
we should definitely do that at least once a week. I think that would be
yeah,
very, very advantageous for both of us. But we'll
the
talk. Thank
midweek
you
shows.
guys. Thank
Yeah.
you very much for watching this show. We
Hmm.
appreciate you. We value you. And we
Hmm.
hope that you will check us back either on the rewatch or next time we're live. It should be Saturday
Yep.
night. Awesome.
Blackbird
Yeah,
season finale. Blackbird.
such a great show.
Yeah. I'm
Okay.
afraid.
I will talk to you soon. See
All
you
right.
next time. Thank you guys for watching. We know you have a lot of places to be and you spent the hour with us, so we appreciate that.
Appreciate you. Bye.